So that's all the setup time that you need that time. And if it's a small project, it's different than a big project. If it's an office building, it's different than a single family house. So everything, real estate is this wide open field. So for me to say what it's going to look like, I don't know, but it's going to look like something once the product is stabilized.
Welcome to the Path to Passive podcast, where we talk about building wealth and empowering lifestyle through commercial real estate investing for tech professionals. I always wish that other tech professionals reaching financial freedom had documented their journey along the way, so I'm doing it for the rest of us. Join us as we explore stories, many failures, and lessons learned along the way. I hope you enjoy and subscribe.
In this episode, I get to talk with Ginger Faith. She is out here in the Bay Area, right in the smack of Silicon Valley, and she's been in real estate for over 30 years. I talk about how she's flipped over 52 houses, a couple of which were on HGTV. She's a super host. She has done large, profitable real estate investments as well, and she's also the founder of Your Wealth Network Meetup in San Francisco Bay Area and has been seen on Fox, CBS, NBC, Yahoo Finance. While she does care deeply about helping women build wealth through intelligent real estate investing, we also talk about a couple different things too, general and investing advice that is really good for everyone. And that's the really cool thing too that we talk about. But one of the things that really stands out to me in this episode that I absolutely love is about really being clear about the gifts that you have, the skills that you have, knowing yourself, as well as knowing how much time do you really have to do investing, and to be honest with yourself about that, and getting clear about what is the life that you want, and coming at that from the life that you want, but also the values that you have. And so she talks a lot about that too, to build the life that you want, and that real estate investing is the vehicle to get there. So stay tuned, listen in. This is one that she talks to the tech investor herself. Again, she has many friends that are in tech that are around her, and she shares some of the stories that they have done, that she's worked with, that they have done, that she's been a part of as well. And so it's always good to reference real life stories. So Ginger talks about some of that here as well. Please, if you haven't already, drop a note, drop a rating, shoot me a mail of things that you want to hear more about. And if you want to get in touch with Ginger, please go ahead and check out the show notes as well. Please enjoy. Well, I am super excited for this interview. My next guest has been in real estate for over 30 years, flipped over 52 houses, 2 of which were on HGTV, Superhost and Airbnb. She bought her first large portfolio, profitable real estate investment in 1994, the founder of Your Wealth Network Meetup Group in San Francisco Bay Area, and is seen on Fox, CBS, NBC, and Yahoo Finance. Ginger cares deeply about helping women build through intelligent real estate investing. So Ginger, welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show. Got a ton of questions, as I was just talking to you about. For those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about how you got here today.
I got here today, Steve, by your invitation. So thank you for inviting me. It's good to be here. I'm very excited to be here. My entire career, I've been a real estate entrepreneur and an opportunist. This dynamic, this game has changed drastically over the years. And so I think of myself kind of as a surfer. My baseline is my brokerage and the clients that I've served for 20 years now in the Bay Area, but always looking for the next edge, the opportunities that are out there, and then dovetailing it with my lifestyle. I have really great friends who they're empire builders. I work with a group of people who take down $1 billion worth of commercial assets per quarter. And that's in a group of like 40 people. We get together weekly on Zoom and quarterly. But that is not me. I don't want to have that. So, but I want a great lifestyle. And so what I've really enjoyed over the years is just reflecting on what I want for lifestyle options and flexibility, as well as personal satisfaction and fulfillment in my work. Because like, as Ray Dalio mentioned, the key to a great life is meaningful work and meaningful relationships. And so over the years, that's just brought me to try different things, to stretch, to grow, to get out of my comfort zone. And real estate is a great platform for growing and doing that.
I think I'm so grateful that you start off with that, especially touching on values. I love the surfing analogy too, kind of riding the wave, and you know, it's a good mind picture. But the part about values and also being specific about what type of life that you want to live, I think is so relatable and is something that we need to take pause into really thinking about too, right? So it's one thing to do real estate and, real estate, passive income, money, flipping houses, all the other strategies, but why do it? So talk to me a little bit more about how you define the vision of what you want your life to look like.
Like how a person would do that, how I personally do that, how
Maybe
we reflect.
your framework of how you got there, and maybe a nugget or two you could tell other people how they would, build that vision as well.
Yeah. So I've been in personal development for like the entire time. I started off in real estate when I started really reading Tony Robbins. And in 1992, reading the Unlimited Power books, and later we had the Power Talk tapes, and basically rah, 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 you can do anything. And then dovetailing that with the Robert Allen books about nothing down and, passive income and financial security and all of that. And even in the beginning, for me, it was lifestyle because I had a specific goal is I wanted full-time income and part-time work. And that was back in 92. So I started a business where I was working 2 nights a week, working 6-figure income, like within a year. And it was just really good. So, but again, it was the specific intention. I wanted part-time work, full-time income. And I did that because I was serving my community. I had very ministerial goals with my church and all things like that. So I wanted to do that, but I wanted to have the income as well. So setting your mind and intention specifically as to what is calling your heart and what satisfied you. And so what satisfied me was serving people, and that's never changed. That's been the constant, right? But all of us have other ways that we get satisfied. Some people get a lot of satisfaction tinkering with things, building things, systems, enjoying systems. So finding that orientation to what you're passionate about and then working in developing your lifestyle around that, I think is really critical. And I've always done that organically and naturally. Even when I was built, I bought my first 6-plex in 94, then a 9-plex and another 6-plex. And so, and then flipped a property. But the goal wasn't to just work, although I've worked a lot. The goal was to self-actualize, to push my boundaries to see how far I could go. And I always found that my brain could go farther than my nervous system. I've always had, had this disconnect, right? My brain sees me over here and then my nervous system says, what the heck are we doing? And so my biggest challenge has been to integrate that and to slow down for my nervous system and push ahead for my overactive imagination and brain. So kind of integrate that.
Yeah, that's definitely the internal blueprint versus life conditions that Tony talks about too, right? And so super cool. So thinking about what good looks like, building on that. And having a full-time income off of part-time work, right? It's like, I think Jim Rohn has something similar to that too. No surprise, which is, build your fortune part-time. I forget exactly the quote, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. He said, use your day job, your work to build your life, to pay your bills, and then work in the evening to build your fortune.
Exactly. That's the one.
Yeah.
So you went ahead, first 6-plex, your quadplex, I think you said afterward, but really starting to build that income. So since we're talking about this today, right, when we're talking about real estate investing, what are some of the strategies that you're involved today or that you like to discuss with your clients?
Well, with my clients, I'm helping them buy and sell right now. So today, actually, I had 2 closings, which I'm really excited about.
Congrats.
That's my baseline. Strategy is when I'm helping investors just have to do with the numbers and numbers and lifestyle. So when you're thinking about an asset, I have a lot of friends and clients. I'm here right in Silicon Valley, so they're in the tech field, right? I have friends who work for Google, Apple, right? All of these, tons of service now, right? Yeah, and I'm right here. So I think it's really, really important when people are thinking about investing in real estate, which I think is a wonderful idea. I think if you've got what I did back in the 90s is I got this money from this business and I didn't know what to do with it anymore because I had so many shoes. I didn't need another pair of shoes. So all this money is coming in. I got to do something with it. And I know a lot of tech people have the same problem, and it is a problem. It's a problem. So because you don't want it to be wasting away in the bank and you don't want it to fly away with a scam, and there's 1,000 scams for every good opportunity, and that's real. So what I like, I definitely what I advise people to do based on my own experience is to, number one, know what your skills are and acknowledge that, right? And know what your gifts are. And once you know what your gifts are, take that, like, so for example, person is a great systems person. They're a great, okay, they bring the money in with tech. Now, what do they do with it? It's a completely separate skill set. I think people have to recognize that investing is a completely separate field. It's a separate skill set from making it. And I don't think people think that. I at least I didn't think that. I thought if I can make it, I can invest it.
Okay.
Right? Because
versus making it with your money, like investing it. Got it. Okay.
So you're earning it and you had all this money, but then you think, well, I'm so smart. I made it. I'm so smart. I can invest it and make more.
Got it.
And I think people have to realize that
they're different. They are very
they don't correlate at all. So that's number one. And then set what your intention is. Definitely think about lifestyle. Now, here in the Bay Area, prices are going up exponentially. Now, if you have a ton of money and you want to throw it onto a single family house and you want to keep it for 5-10 years, you can probably do just fine if you're here.
Sure.
If that's what you want. If you just want to park some money and let it do its thing. Now, however, you are going to have to be dealing with management issues. You're going to have to be dealing with the fact that we're in a semi-communist state. I said it. Okay, so national rent control. Coming in now with national rent control. Like, okay, let's just do national mortgage control and national tax control, so that the landlords don't have to. I'd be happy to control my rent if you could just keep the taxes capped and the mortgage capped forever, and utilities keep it all capped, and But okay, so that's a real issue. But you can probably do fine if you just want to buy and hold something. If you want to be active, really realistically assess how much time you have to be active. I have a very successful client. I helped bail him out of a situation. He built a beautiful, beautiful home, and he is a very smart guy who does extremely well in tech, has his own business. However, he didn't really know how to build homes. He did a beautiful job, but he got with the wrong partner and it was upside down.
Yep.
It was upside down. And I did the best I can, in getting those numbers up there. And the realtor before me could not even sell the house. It was on the market for months and months. Beautiful home, but
wouldn't sell.
And then his dad said, "Go back to what you do best, son." But he had to try, and he's doing fine. He's doing fine. But it's a situation that people have to realize that if you go and watch Flip This House, several times, it doesn't make you a builder.
Right.
It doesn't make you an investor. Right. It's a very, very complex skill set that, again, people who are smart and make a lot of money think they're smart with everything.
Right.
I'm guilty of that. So, I preach it now from experience.
We're learning.
We're all learning. Right. Yeah. So I would say if you're making your money in tech, that's fantastic. park it until you figure out. Don't do anything until you're really, really confident in where, what you're doing. The one skill that you need to have is underwriting. That's the number one skill. And if you're a good analyst, you can be, if you're a good basic analyst, you understand, so you have that way of thinking. Underwriting, the reason why banks do so well and insurance companies do so well is they hyper train their underwriters, right?
Yep.
So it's basically a risk adjustment. They adjust for risk. And if you can learn how to do that, that means a lot of work. Okay. You have to analyze the property. You should be analyzing the operators. You should be doing background checks on every single person involved who could control your money in any way. Absolutely. If you're not willing to do that, then you should just park it in the bank and let them do it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get as much, but you'll stay safe.
Yeah, that's key point. I know that you're passionate about making sure that people don't get scammed either. So that is directly mapped there. It's such an interesting point for the smart people that in one domain or context, it's like, well, I can do it here, I can do it over here too, and that's true, but it takes time. Like you're saying, right? It takes time to park the money to understand the new domain. Just because you might have in tech program management skills or something like that. So I was picking it up that this person went and they did a development, right? A development. And that is the highest risk of 1,001 things could go wrong. And I think you mentioned working with a partner as well, which is making sure you're vetting your partner too.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot there. So good that you're in Silicon Valley and many of the tech professionals are listening right now as well. So how would you recommend that they get started? Like you said, know what your gifts are, be honest about how much time you have. That will be a very internal conversation if I want to do active or do I want to do more passive. But walk me through, let's do this one first. If someone wants to be active, what are some things that you think they should start off with?
Well, they first should really be honest and realistic about how much time they have to be active, right? So I've got a friend who runs 4 different engineering departments at one of the biggest corporate companies in Silicon Valley, right? Her time is like this, right? So even doing something like Airbnb, I'm helping her out with an Airbnb, but I'm going to be managing it for her because she's 0 time to do,
I love
right.
that you bring this one up first because so many tech people are like, well, I think I should buy a rental or go into Airbnb. Please, talk to me about this.
Oh, Airbnb. Okay. Well, it's good, but it's a hospitality business. I'm a Superhost with Airbnb, but it's a hospitality business, which I love. Okay. So I love hospitality. I love people. I love having people have fun on my, I just think that's so cool. That just gives me juice. But if you don't have time, you need to get a co-host to manage it for you. So it's not a bad idea. If you have money that you just don't know what to do with, buy a little house in a great neighborhood and just have someone else do the management for you. Right.
Give some ranges or so, maybe when someone, how much time might this be? I know it's good. I know it's going to vary, but maybe if you can remember the first one that you did, someone's thinking, oh, well, she said it takes some time. I can do that. But for how long, how much time per week or per month type of thing, ballpark?
Yeah. So it really depends on your systems, right? And right now I have really good systems. That being said, if you're in the middle of a key meeting, your Airbnb kind of clocks you on how long it takes you to respond to clients. And then you could lose a client if you don't respond within an hour. They'll just go somewhere else, right? They're looking, I want to go here, so that you'll lose business if you're not Johnny on the spot, right? So you could take your time, you can get back them tomorrow, but you'll lose points on the Airbnb algorithm. Your listing will go lower, and then the people won't probably work with you because they'll work with somebody else who's on the spot, right?
You'll lose the customer guest, you'll lose ranking, metrics.
Yeah, exactly. So I can honestly say on my Airbnb systems, I'm probably an hour a week, but it's 5 minutes, unless, something crazy happened, like, the boiler breaks in the middle of the winter in one of your properties and it's sub-zero, like, like happened in January of this year. Then it becomes my full-time job for 2 weeks. But other than that, yeah. So, but I have really good systems. So normally it's like an hour. But it's again,
now it is.
Right. Now it is, right. But you got to set it up. I mean, and then you have to have a checklist of exactly what you have to know what you're doing. If you miss spoons in the place or soap or whatever, right? You have to make sure everything is in there. It's a full house. You're setting up a full house, and I'm able to do that quickly because I've got a checklist and I just go crazy and I go, but so it's a thing. So if you want to do it, fine. Just, I would say, dedicate an entire weekend. Get, there's lists all over online, right? I've got a nice Airbnb video on how to make money with Airbnbs on my YouTube channel, which is pretty cool, right? Just like things that you need to know if there's something you want to do. So that, it's not a bad idea, but it's a business.
Yeah.
So it's not passive.
Got it. I mean, the other active parts would be what, like you're saying, also could buy a long-term rental, Airbnb short-term rental, right? But that takes effort and management as well, especially if something blows up in January, like never happened to you before.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, are there any other active type of investment strategies that someone would even, you would recommend or consider to start with for someone who's in tech to even look at?
To start with, well, again, it depends on your orientation. I would say, honestly, I would say start by being a passive investor with a very well respected, check them out thoroughly, in Silicon Valley. That guy who was, he had a TV show about flipping, and I don't remember the name, so I'm not going to misrepresent and say the wrong one.
Yeah.
But the guy went to jail because he had a big fat Ponzi scheme.
Oh boy.
There's another guy right here in Silicon Valley right now, as we speak, doing the same thing that guy went to jail for. I have been called twice by the district attorney for an interview about this guy, and he's still running loose.
Crazy.
So it's out there. So when I say, pay attention, get a well-renowned long-term operator who and make sure that your paperwork is tight so you're protected, and then throw in a little bit of money, 100 grand in a project, and watch the person, see the progression, see how they handle everything. Watch for character. Warren Buffett said if anybody he thinks about buying their business or having it as an employee, they have to have 3 qualities. They have to have energy, integrity, and skills or expertise, like knowledge, right? And then he also said, that if they have a lot of energy and are very smart, you want them, wait a minute, if you have, if they are, wait a minute, you want them to be lazy if they have no character and they're stupid. You want them to be lazy and you want them to be lazy and stupid if they have no character. That was what it was.
Got it.
You want them to be lazy and stupid so that you could, but a lot of these con men are not. They're smart, energetic, but they have no character.
Yeah.
And it can be very charismatic, and they come in various sizes, forms, and shapes. And you want to make sure you do need to do background checks on everybody. So, but if you've seen, and sometimes these guys are like the heads of these real estate investment meetings. They're very, good showmen. I've seen it all. But then they're either outright scammers, or they're lazy in their underwriting, or sloppy, or they're so big full of ego that they just want to show how much they own, that they buy all this stuff with everybody else's money so they can throw it onto social media, and they don't manage it properly.
Yeah.
And all of this stuff is real. But if you want to really make money in real estate, and if you're serious about it, you probably want somebody who's just boots on the ground. They're just working. They're humble. They have character. They're not big showy. They're just, you see them over and over again, that they're just making things happen. They're growing steadily, intelligently. They take the investors' money extremely seriously. And they're very, they have a tremendous amount of internal integrity and transparency. It's absolutely critical. However, if you find those people, when you find those people, you can literally learn so much in your free time. And they have to talk to you because they have your money. They want to talk to you. So they'll show you the project. They'll show you what you're doing. And then you can gain income, passive income that way, and then learn, because this business is about learning. Anybody who says, oh, I'm just going to throw money at a dartboard, you're going to lose it all. You have to be always learning, and you always have to be aware of what you're doing. But I would say that would probably be the number one thing I would recommend somebody who has money and they don't know what to do with it. Learn while you earn.
Absolutely. Learn while you earn, for sure. And to bring that back, you said really start with passive investing. And I know you've got the meetup group, this great places to go and start asking those questions, or even hear the questions that are being asked, right? And that's something I, hear a lot from my investors or my colleagues is like, I don't even know what questions to ask. Well, just go to some place like a meetup to hear the questions that are being asked. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's kind of pull on that thread a little bit here. I love you mentioned learn while you earn. So walk me through how someone would go and find their first, passive investment, because, they're at their computer, they're at home, they're listening, they're in the office in Silicon Valley or wherever. And they're like, okay, Ginger says, go to, do my first passive investment. This is how I start. But I don't know where to go. Do I Google this? What do I do? Walk us through that a little bit.
Start by flapping your gums.
Talking to people.
Talk to people. Tell them what you're looking for. I have a really great friend. It took her about 2 years, but she went to all these meetups. She went online. She was looking. You got to be a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be a hunter, or at least you have to be teamed up with a hunter.
Yeah.
But you got to be telling people what you're looking for, and and very active. And it took her 2 years, but she found a 56-unit garden-style apartment complex. She bought it with a partner, and they renovated it. Beautiful job. They doubled the rents in the 2 years that they had it, and she sold it for a multiple 7-figure profit.
Impressive. Yeah,
but it took 2 years to find it and 2 years to work it. But multiple 7 figures is nothing to sneeze at, right?
That's a very tight buy box too, right? To completely under market and value add to double rents.
Right. They were very sharp. They knew exactly. Actually, she had no investment experience. I met her at a real estate meetup group. She came to me for advice. She got into a snag. She came to me, and I referred her to my attorney, helped bail her out. But smart as a whip, willing to learn, good strategy, very good thinker, but she didn't have any real estate experience. But you don't need the real estate experience. You need experience thinking. And you need resources that you can call on, people that you trust.
Yeah.
Who can guide you, because you're going to run into everything from little snags to ticking bombs that you never know what you're going to run into, right? So you need a posse of people that you can call. And I like to say I have a Jedi council, so in case I need anything.
Someone of each person within that little council or board that you can call, like, hey, so-and-so, this happened. What do you think? Yeah. What you do, right?
Exactly. Yeah, people that you can trust. So start just getting out there. You have to move. You can't drive a parked car, right?
Sure, yeah.
You just got to go. You just keep it moving, right? Money likes movement.
Yes.
And that's what I would say to do. There's no magic bullets. You got to get out there, because what's going to happen is when you hit a dead end, you're going to say, oops, dead end. Redirect, dead end, redirect. I have a really good friend right now. After 5 years, they own 8 large shopping centers.
Nice.
All profitable.
Awesome. Should be.
He texted me this morning that she's killed the last 5 deals that they've brought to the table. She's killed them because she's a phenomenal underwriter.
Correct.
But all of their properties are profitable. And she was from tech. She had no experience in real estate before doing this, but she's so smart and so, she's so savvy and a phenomenal underwriter that she's protected all the investors. She's protected her and her partner, really well. But again, it's that, willingness to underwrite, willingness to let something go,
Yes.
pitch it. But her first year, she told me she almost gave up because every deal that she looked at was like garbage. And then, and then all of a sudden, boom, 1, 2, 3, 1, so I think, Napoleon Hill said in the book, Think and Grow Rich, among many pieces of gems of wisdom, he said, a theory is that the universe tests you to think to find out if you're worthy of money.
Yeah.
Right. And if you give up too easily, or if you get the wrong advice, or if you're lazy mentally, it's going to basically say, nah, not you.
And when bridges come, they come so fast, you're wondering where they were before.
That's right. Because it's all about character development. And so you find that people who are successful in this arena are also, they're going to see Tony Robbins, they're listening to Jim Rohn, in the car, they're at the gym and they're listening to Les Brown, they're into personal development because you have to be, because this is really an arena. It's like you're waking up and you're a gladiator.
Yeah. Yeah. Alluding to that point, Tony Robbins talks about the whole, like in the car, walking on the street here, wherever, etc. There's net time, no extra time, gives you that opportunity to continue to learn and learn and learn and, earn while you learn as well. In this case, it's who do you want to be? Who are you becoming to be? And in this case, like you said before, separating, you can be a great tech professional, but it's a difference between becoming or being a great investor. And so if you want to be a great investor, like anything, you do have to start moving your gums and you have to understand what your skills are and your gifts. You have to have some criteria for what it is that you want as well, right? That specificity. But the cool thing, like you were talking about, is, having the passive investments first, is that yes, it does take a bunch of time to learn, to get specific on what you want as much as you can, ask questions. But after you invest, that's where the passive part comes in, right? And so because a property is being, yeah.
If you do it right.
Talk to me about that. What is if you do it right looks like? Like, what are you talking about? What are you referring to?
Well, a lot of times with when you purchase anything, it has to be managed, right? So there's a question. Again, it's a lifestyle question. Do you want to manage a shopping mall? Like my friend manages shopping centers, right? Do you want to do that? Do you want to manage an office building? What does that even look like? Do you want to manage a little house or hospitality, like an Airbnb or a hotel? What do you want? It has to be managed. It doesn't make money all by itself.
Right.
Somebody's got to manage it. So when I first started in the business back in 1994, this would have been 93, I'm looking at one of those magazines and I'm like, oh, all these houses for sale that can make me passive income. So I called on one of them and I got this guy, Rico, on the phone and he said, oh yeah, you want to buy some multifamilies? He said, yeah, my friend so-and-so bought a triplex and now all he does is collect rent and he bought a Jaguar with
exactly how it happens, by the way.
Just I'm like, oh my God. And I'm so young. I'm like, I can do that. Yeah. I can collect. I know I have the skills to collect rent and to buy a Jaguar. I can do this, right? So I think, some people think or they don't know how much management is going to be until you get into it. And so this is why I emphasize really get really clear about what you want for a lifestyle. And if you're not going to manage it, you have to know that you're not getting ripped off by the manager, totally. Right? You have to manage the manager. So you have to, so again, a conversation I was having with one of my friends who owns quite a bit of commercial real estate yesterday, knowing the numbers, what is an electrical, panel box costs? Like, even if you're not going to be a builder, knowing the numbers, because you're paying for it. Even if the contractor's doing the work, you're paying for it. So what do these numbers look, can you buy in bulk? Depending on if you're buying a multifamily, can you buy in bulk? Can you get a discount? Every discount makes a difference, right? So that's all the setup time that you need that time. And if it's a small project, it's different than a big project. If it's an office building, it's different than a single family house. So everything, real estate is this wide open field. So for me to say what it's going to look like, I don't know, but it's going to look like something once the product is stabilized. So whatever you do in the beginning, you get it so that it's clean, it's tight, it's a really great functioning shape. And so once you get a tenant or whoever or
whatever,
many tenants, whatever it is, right? At that point, you're once you've stabilized, that's where the passive income comes in. Once you've stabilized it, right? So the key is to get it stabilized as quickly and as efficiently as you possibly can, no matter what it is that you're dealing with, so that you can start getting the passive income. And then at that point, all you have to do is just pulling levers, right?
Yep.
So
tuning yeah.
tuning it.
And so I think, for those listening, I just want to tie this back to, Ginger, you went through, yes, it depends if it's a strip mall, if it's you're buying in bulk for a multifamily or, an Airbnb or short or long-term rental or whatever. But, like you were talking about earlier, just tying it to that is that if you're a passive investor, the people that are managing it and getting it to the point that's stabilized, these are all the things that they need to know and that they need to manage and they need to do, because you might be a passive investor, me talking to the tech person here, but there's someone who is definitely active, right? And so it's kind of like passive investor, and they are the active investor too. So is talking to, doing research, checking you out a bit more too. I know that, helping women to invest is a passion of yours. I saw different things like, kind of having build your own. There's a lot of, competition as well. Is this something that you want to speak about? Like, is this something that you're passionate about, helping women through, giving them some advice on how to manage a competitive marketplace?
Yeah, I think it's a really important thing. Inflation is real. It's much more challenging for women than it used to be, obviously, to support themselves and then to invest in retirement. Okay, so the stats are what I wrote in that article that got picked up by NBC and Yahoo Finance and all that, is that according to the American Psychological Association, 65% of women 45 to 65 have zero in retirement.
Wow.
Okay, so if you look at the numbers, when you talk to these financial advisors, starting at 40, 45, starting from zero, they're like, oh, just put more money in the account. Like, I obviously, like, I haven't been able to save much all this time. There's got to be a better way. Like, how can I actually have a retirement? And what I have seen over the years is that if women start looking into real estate very, very seriously, like my friend did, my friend was over 40.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know what her numbers looked like before. It's not my business, but I know that in 2 years of hunting and 2 years of execution, she got multiple seven figures, and she bought a farm and she retired. And now she's using that money to underwrite and analyze other people's deals. So she's putting a little bit of money here, watching and learning about how this person operates self-storage unit, how this person operates a gold mine, how this person operates a cannabis business. Where she's putting a little money here, a little money there, and then now they're looking, after 4 years, I think, of relaxation, whatever that means, farming and having a good time. She's now looking for maybe buy another multifamily. So because, people get itchy feet. You say, oh, I want to retire, and then you don't. So that's okay. There's no problem there. But I think it's really critical. I think real estate's a good place for women to start. And Robert Allen's advice back in the 90s was good. It said, buy real estate, buy one house per year, and then per year for 10 years, and then start paying the mortgages down. And then there's your retirement, which is not bad. It's like a good baseline type of thing. But now, of course, the properties are so expensive and product is so expensive and renovating them, it's more challenging, right? So start finding ways, but it's challenging, but it doesn't mean it's impossible.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be challenging. But if you're looking at your bank account and you're saying, gosh, I would like to travel more. I'd like to have more flexibility. I'm so tired of my commute. And, I'd really like to see a different life, from a different future. Then, yeah, looking into real estate, very focused. There's a lot of ways, and there's nobody who can tell you this is the way for you. Well, what is the way for you is this. You need to know who you are, what your gifts and skill sets are. And you need to focus, I would say, positive affirmations when you figure out what it is that you want. It doesn't have to be perfect, that you need exactly this. Set your goals, keep focusing on them, and then you will get them. Maybe you won't get them right away. Maybe you'll have to zigzag and you're like, oh, I have to change that goal because I thought I wanted this, but I don't really want this. Right. But you're moving in the right direction of self-actualizing and also bettering your lifestyle. And then celebrate every single win that you have, because everything that you do is going to be hard won.
Yeah.
That's reality.
That a lot of great things there. That one and the last two, it took I think just double clicking, everyone needed to hear to celebrate your wins, because people can be it's like, okay, I got the thing, I got the goal, what's next? I got the thing that's good, okay, what's next? But if you don't take that second to at least recognize it, even if it is just 5 seconds, then
Yes. I did that today. Today was a super intense day. I had 2 closings. I actually sold 2 of my residential properties that I've owned. One of them I've owned 14 years. One of them I've owned 2 years. I'm taking the cash. I want to parlay it into a neighborhood shopping center. And so so I've got, 2 new listings, a short sale. I got all this stuff going on today, but I literally took like 20 minutes into meditation just before this podcast. And I said, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. This is a win. I had this property for 14 years, and to transition, you got to take a minute and say, wow, this is something. This is something, and every day you have something that you can be grateful for. If you're moving in the right direction and you're moving, every day you got something.
Yeah. It's what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah. The thing is about what's wrong is it needs our immediate attention. What's right just keeps skating around.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm curious on your take on this one. So getting honest about who you are, your skills and abilities, how much time you have, being starting to have that fire in your belly, the fire under your butt, whatever you want to call it, of it's time to take action and do the thing, be a hunter or partner with people, but know your skills, right? You're talking about, Silicon Valley, Bay Area, et cetera, where things can get a little bit pricier too. And I want to address this because, if I'm someone who is in tech, but maybe doesn't have a bunch of money currently for XYZ reason, I'm thinking, okay, but not everywhere is as expensive as California, and not everywhere is expensive as, Silicon Valley. What are your thoughts around long distance investing in some places where the markets might be a little cheaper?
Okay, so not bad. Not a bad idea. You can do well. One of the properties I sold today, one was here in California in Silicon Valley. The other one was in Ohio. And they both profited. So it's possible to do it. You do need somebody that you can trust who's going to do a really good job with managing. That's the key. That's the key. You just have to find a good manager and then manage the manager. But it's definitely doable. I've got other property outside of California as well. And I've got some property outside Sacramento, which I visit like once a quarter maybe, and it's running itself really, really nicely as an Airbnb. So it's definitely doable. You just need boots on the ground, and with technology, and then you get a write-off every time you go out and you visit. You can go have a tax write-off and go. I have a friend who actually works for Google, and he and his partner, they're lifestyle choosers. They love skiing and they love the beach. And so they have property up near ski resorts in various places that they Airbnb when they're not there. And then they own property in Florida on the beach. And it's because they really love the lifestyle. And now it's the way it is. You can write off everything. And then you can have your little piece, plus you're building equity. So that's a nice little trick that somebody could do, right? How, especially with the Airbnb system, you can do that. So it's a nice way to build equity now, whereas with the prices even everywhere being higher than they were, Airbnb gives you that little edge where you can make your bills and still have a place to stay for a month if you want to, when you want to bring your family.
Yeah, I love what you were just telling me too, going to a real estate conference as well and having an Airbnb nearby too for yourself and your friends and be able to do that. That's pretty
That was
cool.
fun. Yeah, I did that. I did that just a couple of weeks ago. I went to Ohio and I had a wonderful commercial real estate event, and I had some of my friends. I had 4 bedrooms. Like, hey, come on over, and we had dinner and we hung out and had a great time after the conference every day for several days, and it was super fun. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely part of the lifestyle investing aspect too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that I like to particularly focus on in this podcast in general is, breaking beliefs. And when I talk to colleagues and investors, they often want to go to the single family home, et cetera. But we're talking about like passive investing. And I just wanted to make it like super clear because you've touched on it in different places of start off with passive investing, but you can start off and passive invest in commercial right away. You don't have to go through, X number of single family homes and think, oh, well, I have to, graduate from single family to a
Right.
commercial property. And is there anything else that you want to add about, um, not that people do not have to start with single family and they can go directly in commercial? Any?
Yeah. So what I always say is you're going to get your butt handed to you real quick if you just do that, because the numbers are bigger and the knowledge that you need is more. So I tell everybody to go to J. Scott Shields boot camp, at least. The guy who's like, I think he's the best in teaching commercial real estate. I'm going to be there in October in San Diego.
Awesome.
That I was in Cleveland last month. I'll be there, and I just keep learning from him. I say get educated and then get with people who are already doing it first, because it's much more capital. And then let's just face it. I mean, you buy a building and the mortgage is $50,000 a month. You know? So, and the taxes are, so the numbers are so large that if you don't have backing and if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna be hurt. So the truth is, yes, you absolutely can. And the other truth is it's more capital intensive. But it can be done. Another option is to get into commercial sales so that you learn. CCIM has amazing classes, really powerful classes on commercial, right? So get involved with that, or get your agent's license and go into one of the commercial agencies. See if you can get work in that. That'll teach you a lot. And then again, if you have a full-time job, that's not possible. If you have a full-time job, you should be finding quality commercial operators,
Mm-hmm.
and then pooling your resources. And there are some here in the Bay Area that are really great quality operators, that know what they're doing, and that you can you can vet them and you can work with them and learn from them. And I would absolutely recommend doing that. But if you're, if you want to be a career person, you don't have to just flip single family houses. You don't have to, absolutely not.
Right.
Just understand that the learning curve is higher, and the money is bigger, and the opportunity to, anybody can like write a big check. And but then afterward, I've heard people, I mean, this is in my classes, they teach this, that somebody got a big property, a really fantastic property, thought he was going to be able to turn around an industrial property for like $5,000.
Oh,
and he lost it.
of course.
And he lost it because he didn't know how to take it from where it was to where it needed to be. And he ran out of money between the taxes and all that stuff. So So just understand the risk reward, learn. I can't emphasize that enough, so, and then, but you're absolutely right. I think what you said is really important, that you don't have to just because there's this one thing that you see all over. Oh, BRRR, right. This is it. This is the way that there's a whole wide world open of opportunity, but there's other learning that you need, and you need to connect with people who know what they're doing, and
higher bar in a lot of ways.
Yes,
for sure.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
talk to me about some of the biggest lessons you've learned in the last 3 years. You've shared a lot so far, but is there any one or two things that maybe you would, let me ask this a different way. Ginger, where you are now, what would you tell, Ginger when she was first starting real estate? Here are the one or two things that, here are the one or two lessons that you should really know as you start your career.
Don't think that just because you're a nice person that everybody around you is nice.
Oh yeah. True.
Okay. Trust but verify. And I'm not a cynical person, but I've just seen too much that I would say, young lady, you're doing great. Protect yourself.
Yeah.
Protect yourself. And keep the money in the bank until you know what you're doing, although I did really well, with my 6 families, whenever I did well, but I would say that, that's probably, trust but verify, and learn as much as you can. And, when I say, put the money in the bank until you know what you're doing, like, I have to say that kind of, but I also jumped and I did well. Right. So that, Shinra Suzuki, a great sage, says, if it's not a paradox, it's not true. So when I say this, I know it's heady, but it's something worth kind of, thinking about, right? So keep the money in the bank until you're ready, but you're never gonna be ready, so you got to work. So it's kind of like they're both true, right? But so protect, vet everything.
Yeah.
Your tenants. There was a time I was renting out I was subletting a room, and I had a guy give me his police report.
Nice. So you didn't have to verify very far.
So yeah, like, can I have your police report? And he just laughed, and then he's like, all right, and he went to the police report and got me, and I checked his credit, and but it wasn't him. He wasn't a weirdo or anything. It was this particular property I wanted to be really careful with, so vet everything. Whitepages.com will teach you a little bit about, real crazy people. That's a good way to start. Whatever you can do to do background, check them out on social media. It could be scrubbed and cleaned up. Right. So, I would say, I would also tell myself, plug into super high quality organizations early on. Rotary is great. Like I said, Sheil, Joe Stump with the real estate, retail side with by referral only, phenomenal. Opportunities to grow with good people. So yeah, those are some of the things I would tell myself. I think I'd also tell myself to have faith in myself.
Big one. That probably is the biggest, right? Have faith in yourself.
You have faith in myself, yeah. And my intuition, which has grown over time. Yeah, trust that little vibe that says yes or no.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust that.
Ginger, thanks so much for being here. Where can people find you, engage with you?
Probably on Facebook right now. I'm looking for a social media director. I had one. I was all over social media. Now I'm on Facebook for the moment until I replace. But I am all over social media. I'm just, some things are a little dated at the moment. But Ginger Crystal Faith, I'm on Facebook. Just message me or reach out, and love to connect.
Perfect. I'll make sure all the links are there in the show notes too. Please go reach out to Ginger. Have faith in yourself and take one step at a time. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Path to Passive. We love connecting with our listeners and those on the path to architecting their wealth and improving their lives. Feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see in future episodes. Get in touch with us through email or Instagram. See you next week for a new episode.